And welcome to another edition of Unexplained Cases Medium. You've got Rick Garner and Maryam the Medium. What? Hey! Raise the roof.
You said you wouldn't do that.
When did I ever say that? And why did you believe me?
More so, it's why did I believe you?
Because I don't remember saying that. I'm sorry, Senator. I can either confirm or deny that I was involved in that altercation. So what's shaking over there on the other side of the coast? In case folks don't know, I'm actually on East Coast. I'm in Maryland, and Maryam is in Los Angeles. So how's everything over there? What's shaking?
Everything's good. I have zero complaints. I mean, I do have my car story I wanted to share.
Well, now let's unpack that. Because, I mean, anytime there's a car involved in the story, it's usually a good thing or interesting thing, at least.
I wanted to talk about the lesson and the craziness of it all. We had, for those of you that don't know, we had our car stolen about a month ago now, and then it just returned. And
Ooh.
It was so strange that it was returned, because it was returned with nothing wrong with it. But I think what I wanted to share with everybody was how, when the car was stolen, it couldn't have been in a worse time for many reasons. But I mean, there's never a good time to have your car stolen, but like maybe a good time would be not a pandemic, not, only one of you is working, all those things. So anyway, so we get a call. So let me start. When the car was stolen, the interesting thing was both Bruce and I took this approach of, in the moment you get angry and you go through that, what just happened. But ultimately we let go, and we just let go, and we're like, okay, we'll figure this out, And there was a huge detachment for both of us, which was, for him in particular, it was unusual for him to be that detached from something like that. But for the 30 days that car was gone, it was just one lesson after the next that stolen car presented, through my family, through his family, through the relationship, through ourselves, as every situation in life that happens. And through it all, we still remained disconnected, not obsessing, not concerned. We just said goodbye to the car. I had said in an earlier show that we were just saying goodbye to our past, because it carried, I compared it to like families who have children, and you have that family car growing up, and then everyone grows out of it, and I'm sure for the parents, it's strange to sell the car because it has all these memories. And that's how that car was for us and our animals. And so, but that was okay. We just stayed detached. And then, we went back and forth. Like, we needed a car, but with the pandemic, Bruce isn't working. What if it gets worse? All this stuff. And, but we just stayed neutral and disconnected. And then all of a sudden the car just returned. And I found that so interesting. And so did Bruce, because it was really an example of what I talk about in our manifestation, when I talk about relaxing to receive, and how imperative it is for us to be relaxed in order to receive. And it doesn't matter if we need the car or we don't need the car. What mattered was we allowed ourselves to learn what we were supposed to learn while the car was gone. And you learn to such a degree and to such a point of being neutral now with the situation, and the car comes back or doesn't comes back, and either way we're okay. And that's how we felt when the car was returned. It was surprising, but then there's the sense of, okay, we're neutral about this. And I really believe that not every situation is the same, because relaxing to receive could have brought us a completely different car, maybe for free. It was more the fact that we were allowing ourselves to be relaxed through the situation and trust. And then it just rolls right back up, and you're like, okay, so this is for us now. And I think the point of it was simply that that was an example of how important it is for us to relax through situations that are painful or difficult or scary. And I'm not saying that it's always possible. I'm not comparing a stolen car to something more horrific or painful. But that trust factor and relaxing enough so that you can receive next steps for you in your life, because how you respond to a situation is going to predict whether you learn that lesson or you have to repeat that lesson. And the lessons that came with this car, which you never would have guessed in a million years, the lessons that came with it, because it forces relationships and conversations, and it's odd when you are aware and conscious of what's happening. And so when you realize and you watch what's unfolding and happening, and you have the conscious awareness to say, I want to learn from this and not have to go through it again in this fashion. So I'm going to be very specific and conscious of how I respond and react to all the lessons involved and that are connected to this card. And then when the car just shows up again, the car now it no longer holds what it held prior. It doesn't hold those memories anymore because we'd released them. It doesn't hold any conversations or arguments or anything that was around them because we were neutral with them. And I'm not saying that we can be this way with everything always. I'm not saying that every situation will work out like this. But what I am saying is when you relax, when you find a way to relax in difficult, painful situations, you will receive the information that you need to show you where to go next. And I had just, before the car came back, I had just said to Bruce, we're not going to get another car. Not yet. We need one. But I just felt I knew I had asked and I was told to wait. And I didn't think I was being told to wait because our car would come back. I thought I was being told to wait because now wasn't the time to buy something. And instead, look. So there you have it.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, and if there was some summarizing, I certainly would have to say that how we respond to these situations in life is ultimately what it all amounts to, because it's very easy to get in the ditch, get derailed, get off track, get off focus, whatever other analogy or cute pun you want to throw in there. But the fact that when you actually can respond intentionally and respond well to that, then, well, like you said, in this case, you had the blessing of it coming back, but totally different perspective on the vehicle, but it could be a totally different perspective on anything.
That's so true. But that response, like how you respond or react to is conditioning, right? Like 15 years ago, I wouldn't have reacted like that because I didn't have the conditioning. I didn't have the daily practice in me, but once you have the conditioning in you, you can do it. And I didn't have to think about it. And I didn't have to go, oh my gosh, think positive or that. I was conditioned. So I just responded, and that's what I'm always trying to help everyone understand is you have to condition yourself. And that's a daily meditation practice. Okay, done. Oh my gosh, really quick before we went live, I was live on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram talking about the manifestation. And I was really getting into it. And on TikTok, someone jumped in and was like, "Ooh, I feel like I'm interrupting a lecture." And I was like, hey, maybe I need to chill because if I sound like I'm lecturing, but I just thought that was funny the way she was like, this isn't fun. This sounds like a lecture.
hey, it's only a lecture if you have on glasses and put them on the nose and you're talking to people like this, basically. Then it could become a lecture and I have to start referring to you as prof or something at that point.
All right, well, that wasn't happening.
Professor there. So, and of course, while you're talking, Debbie was agreeing in. So,
thanks, Debbie.
Thanks, Deb. Also, Sean. This dude is like crazy with the information. So the researching, love you, Sean. Appreciate all the research that you've helped us out with. Jennifer, hey there. Another Rick. Always appreciate that name. Awesome.
Love the Ricks.
Thank you so much. Hey, and she's actually was saying thank you to me, but But Jennifer, poor Jennifer, I want you to feel better fast. I think she'll only be joining us tonight in chat, unfortunately, like that. Irene, no. Well, okay, fine. I'll be the professor for today. So thanks everybody for joining in. Real quick notes, just from some folks who may be new. Basically, the flow of the show today. We've got Pick a Card that's coming up next. We've got an animal communication, a fantastic case to look at there involving a beautifully cute doggy. But the story behind that, of course, they're always fascinating. We've got a psychic case that's going to be off the chain. And then we'll get to some live readings. But if you want a question answered, one question in the comments, and we will get to them as quickly as we can. But that will be the last element of the show that's coming up.
I was looking forward to Darren's video. No, you're saving it for after?
I'll do that afterwards. See, I built up all that for you.
You did, and now I just can't wait. All right. Okay, everybody, get focused, because Rick and I are not. For those of you that are new, we're about to do a live pick a card reading, but I like to have everyone get centered first. So we find our breath, because I want your intuition to, I want your higher consciousness to speak to my higher consciousness. So let's take a deep breath. Let it out through the mouth again. Inhale deep and hold it at the top. And release. Again, inhale. Hold it. Release. Closing the mouth, breathing through the nose. Allow the belly to expand on the inhale and the exhale. Really feel the belly expand. Feel the belly naturally pull in. Allowing the breath to move at its own pace. All right. Continue to focus on your breath. Card 1, card 2, card 3. Card 1, card 2, card 3. Card 1. Whew. Combination here of really some of you, like, I feel like some of you have lost loved ones. I'm just feeling this elevation of spirits moving towards the light. I'm also feeling those of you in body really, it's like, I want to say being forced to connect to the light. And I use the word forced because I'm feeling like it was almost this, like not like maybe jarring, or just like, whoa, did that just happen? Like, did I just feel that? Did I just hear that? Did I just see that? There's this just huge connection to spirit that's happening in group 1. And if you haven't felt that, it's coming. And for some of you, I'm seeing these spirits around you just being lifted up towards the light. That's not something that's coming. That's something that's already happened. So I don't want to instill fear that death is coming for people. No. There's this deep, deep rooted connection to spirit that has always lived in you all in card 1, but you have been ignoring, and now it's coming forward, kind of in an aggressive way. Aggressive, again, I use that word lightly. Light and energy and spirit is never aggressive, but for you, it's going to feel like kind of it washes over you. And it's like, whoa, what was that? Could happen. And it may happen in a dream for some of you. There's an opening up. This is going to bring an opening up. This is going to bring a connection that will infiltrate your human experiences, what goes on in body and on earth. Really, your guides are really prevalent right now in card 1. They're like right there. Like, this is you and this is them. Waiting. They're like staring at you going, hello? This time on the planet, this isn't something, and I'm not talking about just the pandemic. I'm talking about in general, the time we are at as a planet. If I am speaking to you about connecting your guides and connecting your higher consciousness, it's not just a fun little, ooh, try it. It's, you better do it. Well, that didn't scare you into it. Let's move on to card 2. Card 2. Somebody steps onto your path, feels like a female, feminine energy, may not be a woman, but could be a man carrying feminine energy, strong feminine energy. Could be a very, if it is a female, she feels almost like a masculine even energy, just kind of like a bull. She's like stepped onto your path and is like looking at you. She's there to remove you from your path. That's her job. So you can see her as a threat, or you can see it for what it is. And like, take her hand and say, okay, show me where I'm supposed to go. Show me what path I'm supposed to be walking down next. Show me where you want me. Don't resist this change that is in front of you. Make friends with it. Bond with it. It'll surprise you. Card 3. This is obvious. She's pregnant. If pregnancy isn't for you, that's okay. Don't worry. This is ideas. This is ideas. This is partnerships, but I'm feeling a mistrust in a partnership. I'm feeling relationship or business, but I'm feeling a mistrust. I'm feeling questioning and uncertainty. It's like something was birthed, or this idea or this business, maybe you've had it for a long time, or this partnership or even a marriage, and it's being questioned. Where you're at in this partnership or relationship is being questioned. It should be questioned. Not because someone is bad or good, but because it's time to question the partnership or the relationship. It's time to look at it clear. It's time to question it so that you can move to the next level with that relationship. And if that next level is growth, great. If that next level is separation, that'll happen too. Question this partnership, question this relationship, question where you're at. You should be, because it's time to move. And this questioning is going to force you to move. Okay.
Well, there you have it. As always, very interesting. And thanks everybody for participating with that and picking your cards out. Of course, got some folks who will be dropping in comments for a reading. But before we got into this, we'd also gave a shout out to Skeleton Crew. Some faves and friends of ours, they're actually going to be joining us tonight, 10 o'clock on Unexplained Cases Live. And to tell us about that, Mr. Darren Dito's here.
Hey everybody, coming up tonight on Unexplained Cases Live, we're going to catch up with our friends from the Skeleton Crew. Yeah, we're going to have some paranormal chat, find out about their latest investigations. Plus, we're going to tell you about a haunted business that apparently you can get a costume, have your makeup done, and have a ghost scare the hell out of you. Yeah, we're off to Modesto, California, yeah, to unlock the mysteries of the Daydreams and Nightmares costume store. The former funeral home is off the chain with paranormal activity, yeah, intense psychic energy, apparitions, Class A EVPs, and a ghost named the Bootman. Maryam will do a remote viewing of the joint to find out more about a possible vortex in the building. So we've got ghosts, we've got some gabbing with the skeleton crew, and much more. Sunday night at 10 on the East Coast, 7 on the West Coast for Unexplained Cases Live. We'll see you then.
That's tonight. But I got two things to say about that video that Darren shared. Okay, number one, I think he's got a vortex in his room. He keeps saying that there's no dust, but there's basically stuff whizzing around. And I'm like, bro, that's got to be dust in your room. He's like, we don't have dust. And I'm like, okay, if it's not dust, then you've got an energy vortex sitting there. Crazy amount of stuff that was
interesting. No kidding.
That's one. And two, the hair. The boy has got a new do. I'm like, bro. So it was nice. You know, I thought it was nice. It's a good touch. But when I got the video,
now I want to rewatch it. Will you send it to me?
Well, of course I will.
And you think I want to rewatch it because of the paranormal stuff you just mentioned, but no, I just want to see his hair again.
I know why. I knew exactly what was going on.
My name is Lucy, my dog's name is Millie, and we have shared custody with her of another family, so she goes from house to house, and we were wondering if she finds it stressful to go from our house to the other parent's house.
Well, there you go. There's the question then for today's animal communication.
So full disclosure, that is my niece, and she has, so Millie, silly looking dog here. She's so funny. So we want to find out if Millie is okay with going back and forth to the different homes. Let's see. She does ask why. She is asking why. That's what she's saying. Why is that? Why do I go from different? Why don't I stay at one? I'm going to kind of talk to her for a sec. Because I'm explaining to her it's because that way you're not by yourself, because sometimes your other mom is working and so they don't want you alone. So they want you to have stuff to do. Millie's like, okay. She's an interesting dog. She's inquisitive. And I thought for sure she'd be attached to the answer because she was like, why? Why are they doing that? And when I told her, she was just like, okay. Talk about being detached. She is, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but she was just like, okay. When I told her why, she was like, that's fine. She enjoys being at with Lucy, who you saw on camera there, Lucy and Carson. She enjoys that because there's so much to do. But she says, I also enjoy when it's a little quiet with my other mom. She says, I'm fine either way. Just curious as to why I do that. She's like, I've been curious why I go back and forth. Not bad, not sad, just curious. So I'm just saying, explaining to Millie, does that answer your question? Or are you comfortable with all of that? And she says, yeah, I'm fine. I'm comfortable. Okay. She said, there's a lot going on at my second house, a lot of energy, a lot of noise, a lot of loud talkers. That's awesome. And if anyone has watched the show more than once, you know that I'm a loud talker. It runs in my family. We're all freaking loud and annoying and obnoxious. There's nothing gentle about anyone except for my mom. I always say that because my mom was always super gentle, but everyone else in our family is just loud. And Millie's right. People are really loud there. That's funny. Okay, so I won't make that. Millie's fun to talk to, but I won't stretch this out any longer than we need to because I know the case is there's a lot going on in the next case. But Millie is perfectly fine with it. It's funny that you guys asked Lucy and Leah because she was asking too. She enjoys all the energy that goes on at the one house, but does enjoy having a more quiet time with her other mom. Overall, she's got a great life. I mean, she has no complaints, she says.
Wow. Well, excellent. So, as always, I'd like to remind people that if you have any questions or concerns about your fur babies, your pets, then that's another great ability that Maryam has to be able to help you out, and that's why we call that segment animal communication. But like you mentioned, we do have a special case that's coming up next. This one should be very interesting, and we're going to bring in our guest who's been patiently waiting for that. Kimberly Worth, welcome to the program.
Hi.
Hi, Kimberly.
Hello.
So Kim and I have been chatting for quite a bit, and I had been passing along information and details to Maryam, and we've also been trying to align a time when we could actually get you on the program to offer you some help and to get some answers there. So I'll step aside and get the things cracked.
All right. So I'm just, as I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at photos. But Kimberly, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about, don't give too much information for my sake, but just a little bit about what's going on.
We've just been having problems with shadows and seeing things like that, and things being misplaced, and there's a lot of bad vibes. We've had plenty of people come up here. My daughter, for one, she had friends out here, and they were actually scared to even go outside. I've had physical experiences myself.
Like what?
I've had actual scratch marks, and I've actually had a burn on me.
Was it during your sleep, or when did it happen?
No, I was awake. I was sitting in my chair one day, and all of a sudden I had like this very like burning, scratching feeling on the back of my legs. And when I got up and looked, I had 3 scratch marks on each one of my legs. And I showed my husband, and he was like, "What happened?" I don't know. It was just sitting there, and it just happened.
Okay.
So stuff like that. Stuff going missing and reappearing months later. We have our grandchildren. One of our grandsons was scared to be here at one point. So just stuff like that.
Okay. That sounds like a lot. That's enough.
Oh, there's a lot more, but I'm just, you said not to.
I'm sure there is. Okay, so it's the property. It's not the house, it's the property. It's back. I'm looking at your swing set. So it's behind the swing set. Is that all just land back there?
Is that all land? It's part of the mill, right? Or no? It's all land. It's just, you have a lumber mill that sits off to like the side back there, but it stops and then it turns all into the like the Pocomoke forest. Okay. It's what it is.
Yeah, but there's it's in the property. I'm trying to get to what it is. I actually can see it in this photo.
I thought I could myself when I seen that photo.
Really?
I actually thought, yeah. Me and my husband, we both have seen things in pictures that I have taken prior, and we both feel the thing that you're talking about over in that area.
No,
that is the area that petrifies me.
Okay, yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah,
okay, so
yeah.
Let me find out what's there and why. Honestly, I know Rick had mentioned before possibly doing this for the evening show because we could do the full property, and we might have to do that in order for me to clear it.
Okay.
Because it's really, there's so much going on. That might be something we'd have to do, because there's multiple entities there. There's not just one.
Yeah,
The
I can
one
feel that.
that stands out, there's this, okay, hold on.
Okay.
These aren't beings that have been in body recently. These beings have been out of body for a long time.
Hmm.
They have been a part of this property for centuries. They
Yeah.
have done this to everyone that's lived there. It's these two beings in particular. Hold on. I'm going up to them. I was actually just handed a cross to hold in front of them. Hold on. I'm asking them what's going, who are you and why are you here still? Hang on, I just have to deal with them myself first so I don't get
Okay.
affected.
Okay.
Okay. I just had to set the boundary. So we're going to talk about why you're here and what your purpose is, and then I'm going to ask you to leave. And if you don't leave, I'll remove you. Yeah, I can remove you. Okay, so they're challenging that. There's no history on them right now. That may come up later, but there's no history right now. These are just super dark, borderline, if not demonic. That's where that scratch and the burn comes from, because they're all heat.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to engage too much because there's no
No.
reason for it. I'm just going to work on removing them right now.
Hmm.
So I'm asking right now if I need to remove them myself or if someone else needs to come in and do this.
I do bless my home.
They get in past that. It's like they use the
I
back
know.
door or something. But that's good. Keep doing that. And I'll see if I can get some more specific instruction after this. No retaliation. I'm just asking you to move or I'll remove you. I'm going to give them about 4 more seconds, and if they don't leave, I'll remove them. All right, I'm gonna take care of it then. I'm gonna remove them myself. They won't leave. I was told that I can do it myself. I'm bringing heat in. All right, they're gone. They're gone. They are really gone. Okay, so that's not going to exist anymore. So there's more entities on the property that are like this. Those two in particular were the ones that were living closest to the swing set, closest to the home. This is going to give you some temporary relief, but there is going to be more energy. There is more. Rick, I think if you and Mike can go out there, maybe we set up for another, or even if you guys can't go out there, I think we need to do an evening remote view, and I might even bring in Angela to help. I think I need to do that with probably one other person. I'd also probably would want to make sure there's some specific people in the chat that day. There's going to need to be a lot of us surrounding this property to manage it. So this will be, so I took care of the two ones that were closest to the home. What tends to happen is you remove energies and others will take that place. It won't necessarily stay gone. So a lot of times it does. I say that just because in this situation, there's so much activity, there's so much happening that I don't want to give you a false sense of hope. But those two that were touching and causing a lot of the physical damage to your body or to your home are gone. Now, I did set up a semi barrier because I can't move in and control you and your home and your life. Not that you want me to. For many reasons, it's not appropriate. So I'm just
Right.
that's why I'm saying I'm setting up like a gentle barrier to kind of keep things at bay until we connect again.
Okay.
And we'll do it at the evening show. We'll have I'll have Angela there to help. I may have 1-2 other people there, and we'll come at that property as a group. In the meantime, do you own sage?
Yes, I do. That's
Okay.
the thing. Me and I staged my home. I walked through each room and I did what I was supposed to. And I went outside and we had a bonfire going, and I had a little bit of the sage left, and I threw it in the bonfire. And when I did, my husband, we both, the fire that came up out of that was crazy. It was
Really?
like, yeah, it was like it like intensified like dramatically. And
Wow.
I want to say something. You said that there were those two entities that were over there. Me and my husband were talking prior to the show, and I was telling him that I used to feel like I was going crazy
Mm.
because I could hear two entities in my head saying, we're gonna get her, we're gonna get her. It's not time.
Wow.
It's not time. So this kind of stuff is just like when
You're
you
not
said that.
crazy.
My husband's sitting over there shaking his head like, yeah, yeah,
Listen, he might
yeah.
think you're crazy for different reasons, but you aren't crazy from that. Okay?
No, no, no. He was saying, he said he couldn't understand because all he hear would be gibbering
Sure, sure, sure.
and then kids laughing outside and playing.
Yeah.
And we don't have any kids here, so.
Yeah. You guys aren't crazy. You both are hearing it. You were legitimately experiencing that. I want you to know, Kimberly, that you have utilized this opportunity to remember I'm seeing you as a little girl, very connected to nature, and fairies and energies that live out in nature, in a very light filled way. And
Yeah.
I want you to remember that time and bring that back, because this is happening for you to remember your abilities as this little, like they're calling you like a little witch fairy, and you just carried all this light and abilities, and they want you to remember that that's who you are. And that little witch fairy, I've never used that term before, that's what they're telling me, is capable of you. They keep showing me with a wand in your hand. So that wand is either a clear quartz crystal or it can be your sage. And that wand is used to protect you, your husband, and whoever who pets or anyone else on that property, and even some of the wild animals that live on the property. That you will ultimately, once I go in and clear this once and for all, you will be able to take back this property because of your ability to do that, because you actually remember that they're referring to you as a little witch fairy who carries a little wand that's either and I want you to physically have that wand, like I said, whether it's a sage wand that you always keep, or it's a clear quartz crystal, or it's both. And when you hold that, you remember that you have the ability to clear land outside, that you have the ability to communicate and connect with these fairies and angels that live on land and work outside and make this property you and your husband's, and that these other beings are no longer allowed to enter. That's what we're going to move you to next, after we take a couple more steps. So in the meantime, if you experience anything more, you may not, but if you do, or if your husband does, have him tell you. And then I want you just to, in a very neutral state, just go stand in wherever that happened, and just stand there and see yourself as this witch fairy, and bring your wand and just be there, and just allow yourself this knowing of when I'm in this presence, no one else can be here. This is all information I'm getting specifically for you. So that just shows how strong you are and how capable you are. And that's why this is all happening, so that you can remember that part of you. Make sense?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay,
A
good.
lot.
So Rick, let's get together, and this will be a fun one. Maybe we could do it sooner rather than later. I don't know how booked we are, but I would love to get to it. It'll be fun.
Yep, we'll figure out something for sure. But Kimberly, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Kimberly. Stay in touch. We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye. Awesome. Okay, so Witch Fairy?
So cute.
That's
She's
new.
so cute.
Yeah, absolutely. Haven't heard of that phrase before. So
Me, I've never, ever, ever heard that. But they were just showing her. She's just so cute. I mean, it's just really sweet.
awesome. And that got a little bit intense. Didn't have any specific questions about it, but this is not the first time. Just to, I guess, to touch on this for a little bit, this isn't the first time you've come up to, shall we say, bullies. This is another little chalk mark, basically, of is there some degree or some type of pattern? Is it from your perspective? I know you say you often don't necessarily recollect these experiences per se, but is it, I guess what I'm going for, is it always different, or is it always kind of similar, of kind of like, I guess I would say, posturing of like, oh, please, who are you and who do you think you are coming up to us?
That's a great question. There is a similarity, and it's usually the similarity, like with today that I've experienced before, is they don't believe who I am. And so when I tell them multiple times, I warn them, and they don't believe it. And and to be honest, I don't know why they don't believe it. That would be something that may come out the more I practice, the more I do the work. But they don't believe me, and then I show them. And in those, like this situation in particular, I mean, I'll say this and could come back to haunt me, no pun intended, but they were not just removed. They don't exist anymore. So, and depending on their level of demonicness, if that's a word, I just follow my guidance and am told whether or not they are to be removed and basically like rejuvenated back into spiritual realm and healed, cleared, whatever goes on, or if they are just, their time is done. And so that's always odd. When it's their time is done, that's always strange for me. Because it's odd.
Well, and that's what I was translating that into. Just seeing you, of course, do your thing was basically getting into the okay, they're gone, they're really gone. I was like, to me, I have my Maryam decoder ring that I got out of the Cracker Jack box. That basically immediately I was like, okay, so she just blew them away, basically. So,
it's always a strange experience.
Right. Well, yeah. And I'm chuckling about that. I mean, because ultimately there's some seriousness here. I mean, this is where, and this is a whole other level that we kind of unpack in other venues. But, a lot of people think, oh, the paranormal is just spooky places and cool gadgets and stuff like that. And it's like, well, no, it's actually very serious. And it's dealing with life and death and these type of scenarios, basically, that impact people on various levels, and there's consequences for actions. I mean, there's a lot of layers.
That's so true.
So looking forward to being able to further help Kimberly once we can get her back on the show or figure out what's next for her. But that's also in the seriousness of this. It's not necessarily always just hey, it's one episode and we're done, all neatly wrapped up in 30 minutes. Sometimes there's things that are a lot more complex. So I suppose my first question would be: did you have any readings, requests, questions from last week?
No, all those were taken care of.
All those were taken care of. Okay, folks. Well, as we have said before, if you have any questions, would like a reading from Maryam, be sure and drop those into the comments, and I will get to them. We've got one right here from Susie.
Hi, Susie. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. God, that's a lot for you, Susie. Hold on. I brought my magic glasses.
Wait,
When I put these on, I see things.
do they sparkle?
Oh
Oh,
my.
there's no sparkling. I expected to see some bling or something.
I did say that I was going to. Oh no, I can't do that. Okay. Susie. Trying to see if I can get info, Susie, without getting more info from you and doing it today. First of all, just to be clear, to be fair, yes, whenever loved ones die, they will always be available for conversation. That's never a question. So that question is yes, of course. He will be there. They will feel him. They will communicate. That's all very real, very absolutely. They always do. The only time, I say always, but sometimes there's a holding period. It depends on the spirit. Sometimes the spirit crosses over immediately and goes into like a schooling type space. And sometimes the spirit stays for a while. And so I feel like Susie, your ex, and your kid's father has not passed all the way over yet because he's waiting to communicate. And so that's very much on the table. I've read when people pass away, they stay behind a while. None of us were ready to say goodbye. So yes, that of course that can happen, that there is this sticking around, which is exactly what he's doing. I'm not referencing your dad yet. I'm referencing still your ex. He's still here, and he is ready to communicate. If you have one specific question, you email that to me because I'll need pictures of him and the kids and stuff. But that's the information I'm getting right away. It's that same goes for your father too. Your father, though, actually passed over and is now back in a more angelic form. And I use that term lightly. Your ex hasn't your ex just kind of went halfway and is hanging to communicate with everybody. And will venture off when that's completed, and he'll still always be accessible. There's just things we go through, the spirit goes through. Your father has gone and now come back and is just like, hey, I'm here, I'm watching over, I am your communication, I am your guidance, I am your light, I am here. What is it that you need? And I feel it's important to point out, I don't know what your relationship was like with your father. It might have been amazing, and if that's the case, then this matches that. If it wasn't amazing, that doesn't mean they aren't now healed and in angelic spiritual form to be of service to you, because that's the form he's in now. Okay.
Now this isn't entirely a question, but from Sean, I was just curious. I don't think I'm necessarily familiar with dark or dusk elves, but I was just curious. Have you ever heard of that phrase before?
Dark. Let me. I've never heard of it, but that doesn't mean anything. Dark elves or dusk elves. But hold on. I wanna see what's.
Obviously,
Yeah.
he's commenting off of the case that we just did.
Interesting. Yes, that's a term given to. There's a lot of terms out there and names for things. At the end of the day, the energy is simply energy, and it just vibrates at a certain frequency. I say that just because dark elves or dusk elves aren't different than, say, the energies I was dealing with earlier. It's all energy. I have been working with spirit for so long that it's obvious there isn't a how do I say this? Energy is energy. There's no color barriers, skin barriers, gender barriers. Humans have created all those barriers, and then humans have created these prototypes, and they look like this or they look like that. And it's because, yeah, people have seen similar things. Well, that's very true. But at the end of the day, when you connect with spirit, whether it's dark light or in between, it's all feel and energy. And there'll be some visuals that connect. But a lot of the visuals we tend to connect with are visuals that are mirroring our human experience, that help us make sense of this spirit world, a world that cannot be made logical, cannot be made sense of. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about that. I mean, sure, it makes sense if they came from. It's like every culture, every religion has their version of angels and their versions of devils and their version of, this and versions of that. But at the end of the day, everything is one. Whatever God you believe in, it makes no difference, because everything is one, whether you believe it or not. Whether you like it or not, everything is one. And so the way we perceive and see things that's why certain psychics are better than others. This is why I always preach a daily practice, and why my daily practice is imperative, because my interpretation of what I am shown is imperative. My interpretation can't be based off of my life experiences, although it will, because I'm in a human body, it's inevitable. So I have to get better and good and strong at being able to see from a truly spiritual perspective, not from my human experience or perspective or opinion or color or gender or decision, because humans have created all these silly stereotypes. Spirit doesn't. And so you show me a dusk elf or whatever they were called, dark elf or something, and you show me a dark demonic energy. I'm not going to consume myself or concern myself with, is that a demon or is that an elf, or is that a this or is it a this, right? It doesn't matter. It is what it is. I will sometimes articulate angels, fairies, this or that, simply because I'm told that's their energetic vibration, not because it's something I've studied or my opinion. It's what I'm told. So that's what I would always push everybody to, especially Sean, is to learn how to feel the beings and respond off of their energetic vibration, not their visual look. Yeah.
So similar on that, skeleton crew, I guess we could kind of lump that in there as like, would you have an interpretation then of the term shadow person?
Yeah, what is that? What in paranormal world, what does that mean for you guys?
Well, so typically to me, a shadow figure, a shadow person is always more of a dark presence. And of course, if you got to think about it, it's more foreboding. I mean, really, it's like, okay, here's this shape and it's dark. So there's a natural inclination to make it, evil or it's demonic or something like that. But in reality, that's not always the case. And some could also interpret it as being even an alien life form. So it could be human. It certainly could be something darker.
So then what's a ghost compared to a shadow person?
A so for me, a ghost is usually going to appear as a full body apparition, translucent, could even frankly seem like a actual fully solid person.
I
But,
see.
but
Okay,
but
that's
a shadow
like,
person is literally one dimensional, basically, by comparison.
I see. So thank you for that clarification, because what's happening is the energetic vibration against the physical environment is the difference. Like Rick just articulated very well these definitions and meanings, and I don't put it in quotes to, like, I'm not being condescending at all, because it's correct. But ultimately it's the energetic vibration of that presence or being that is interpreted differently depending on its surroundings, also depending on who is seeing it, and the camera that is being used to capture it. Because you can capture a ghost, they're saying, we use the term, like, let's just use the word ghost, like you were saying, a full body, but the camera and the person who's experiencing it, I don't ask me to make sense of this, but the energy can pull some of that light out of it, leaving it as looking to your guys's definition of a shadow person. So it was a spiritual, like you said, like a full bodied, but then the person that is in front of it and the camera that's being used can pull some of that vibration out, leaving it to look like a shadow person when the whole time it was always a ghost.
Okay.
And that's why when Rick, you'll hand me pictures, I'll say, oh, it's nothing bad, it's this. Or I'll say, ooh, that's dark. Because at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with these definitions. It has to do with the energetic vibration that is dictated by its surroundings, and then dictated by the viewer, and then dictated by the camera. There is a definite camera. There's something about cameras. I know nothing about cameras, but there are cameras that are like pulling, and I say that gently, like some of the vibration out of that, and that spirit, and so it's turning that spirit in what is, say, a light filled ghost, turning it into a shadow person by human terminology. And so I'd have to look at different cameras, get the vibration of the camera to determine what cameras are doing it and what cameras aren't doing it. And then that person taking the picture, what their experience and their not articulation of it, but their impression of it is going to influence whether that figure gets really loud and clear, or if that figure stays kind of smaller. So there's so much at play. Yeah.
That, not to belabor on this point too much longer, but because we could probably talk an hour on that, but that, I think that also leads into credence of why, frankly, certain cameras capture evidence better than others.
True. That does make sense.
One camera might never capture ever anything, but then one might have something every single time it takes a shot.
Interesting.
And everywhere in between.
That makes a lot of sense. Hi, Jordan. With me having the same super senses as you, do you feel I have anything else that I need to work on? Let's see. No, but Jordan, you should be with us when we do the Kimberly's home.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Matter of fact, Jordan and Rexine were two who spoke up about that.
Okay, good. We'll make sure you're there. Jordan, you... Yeah. There's this wall. It feels like ego that was... Ego, not bad, but like there's this wall that came up at some point in your life to as a form of what you felt was protecting yourself from hurtful words and hurtful other humans. And so we need to break down that wall, because it is influencing and affecting your senses. And it's just as part of your evolution, you want to move through this wall of judgment. You've put up this wall as a way of, like, yeah, they're just saying, like, this wall went up, and it's like you feel like, okay, now I can't really be hurt because I'm protecting myself. And I mean hurt by, like, humans. Spirit, you're very angelic and connected to that realm. They want you to pull that wall down so that that you're protecting the human aspect of you, instead of doing this and saying, it's okay, this is me. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what they're saying, that they want you to work on. That's gonna, because your connection to spirit is super clear, but that's gonna really open it up.
And our last one for today, one of our fans.
Because I have to pee.
Linda.
Linda. Sometimes I forget where people are watching.
We keep it real here on Unexplained Cases Medium. Everybody needs to pee. Come on.
Linda's like, can you go to the bathroom first? Can you pee first? Because, okay. Before November, a guy named Sam from the other side whispered in my ear. I felt comfortable about that. He said he was here to help me. Is he still around? Linda's got so much going on when it comes to the spirit world. I don't know how you have time during your day. I feel a Sam, but I don't feel he is a temporary support for something specific. He is not someone that's going to be there all the time. He is there for you to work through some issues. It feels like maybe with dad and mom's relationship. He is there to work through something very specific in the human physical world. He's not your forever angelic guide. He is going to be passing through and coming back into body, but he's there until you work this family thing out.
And there we have it, folks. So thank you for another edition of Unexplained Cases Medium. Be back tonight.
That was fun.
It was definitely, that was a whole jam-packed lot of fun there. And be back tonight, 10 o'clock for Unexplained Cases Live for Skeleton Crew, and a whole lot of fun right there. And now, you go take care of business, okay? Please.
Bye.